What's up, everybody? Sinister here, and welcome to Behind the Vocals, a series dedicated to vocalists, learning how they got into vocals, their routines, their vocal care, how they attack lyrics and songwriting. Super excited to bring this series to you. I hope you enjoy this first episode featuring the one and only legendary Grym. Enjoy. Behind the Vocals. Welcome in, everybody. It is a weekly, episodic, whatever you want to call it, series about vocalists, learning their routines, how they learn to do vocals, how they do vocal care, how they dive into lyrics, how they tackle lyrics, all that good stuff. And we are honored and privileged to have our very first ever guest, the one and only, the beautiful skeleton himself, Mr. Grym. How are you doing, sir?
Oh yeah, I'm good, man. Doing good. I'm alive. Actually, no, I'm not. But inside I feel alive.
Okay.
And I got my coffee here, so I'm happy.
I mean, how does coffee work with a skeleton? Is that?
Oh yeah, because I don't have like a digestive system.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it's a little. Yeah, how's that? How's all this go?
It gets absorbed straight into the bones as soon as it touches down here somewhere.
Okay.
It goes into the bones.
Okay. Just all right. Nice. Very nice. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what I'd like to do very first, right off the bat, is I would like for you to introduce yourself. Kind of tell everybody a little bit about yourself, what you do, all that. Just kind of give us a little backstory.
Yeah. So my name is Grym. I'm the Lord of Death, the Reaper of Souls, and I stream here on Kick. I play heavy metal guitar, live music, originals and covers. But I'm on a bit of a quest as well. I'm not normally here in this freezing cold wasteland. I'm usually in hell, sailing the seas of hell on a quest to find my friend, the wizard. He's kind of like the guardian of the nether realm, my home. And he got kind of kidnapped by an unknown entity, left a clue that he was in hell somewhere and that only by boat could he be reached. So I boarded the Dutchman, and off it started sailing. And we've been sailing the seas for a number of years now. The reason why I'm here in this freezing wasteland is another entity by the name of the Overseer could be here to face some inner demons. It's a place where souls go to face some challenges that they need to face. Two challenges that I've had to face here. The first one is play my very first live show on planet Earth, which I did a couple of weeks ago at DreamHack Melbourne, and that was incredible, really fun.
Was that your first live show ever?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Well, no, I have played in front of a small audience like 2 times, like 10 years ago, but I don't really count it as a live gig, really. But
so I need to know, how is it? I'm sorry to interrupt you. How is it going from playing in front of a camera to go into playing in front of a live audience? Was it weird at first? Was like how did it feel?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's just.
Were your bones chattering? Was it nerve-wracking a little bit?
Honestly, not too much. Like in the morning, waking up in the hotel room before the show, I felt the nerves. But then the side of the stage, as I was fully ready to go, had the guitar and warming up, like 5 minutes to stage time, I felt pretty calm. And I went up there and, all the motions were the same, right? Because I was playing songs I've been playing for years on the live streams, 3 days a week for the last 4 years. And so all the motions were the same. The only thing is, every time I looked up, every now and then I'd see an audience instead of a webcam. But the sound as well, I had my in-ears in the whole time. So it was very, very much like the stream, the music was blasting in here. I got a little bit of the environment audio for an arena. But it was all pretty similar. And if anything, I would say the nerves translated from the mind into my hands, because there were parts of songs I was playing and I went a bit too fast for those parts, or I went a bit too soon into them. But as far as like the butterflies and mentally nerves, there wasn't really any there, which was good.
Okay, awesome. I know whenever I was playing, we tempo, especially the first song, it'd always be a little too fast.
Yeah.
But for me, it was kind of backwards. I played shows before I streamed live, So
Oh
going
yeah,
from
nice.
seeing the crowd and like that interaction to staring at a webcam was very different and awkward at first. It's kind of weird,
Yeah,
but you get used to it.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
All right.
That was fun. I think having the in ears was super helpful because it just like, yeah, it just helped you stay on track with the songs big time.
So do you have like a click track going in your in ears? Is that what you're using? Or
No,
just
it was just my backing track,
oh,
and
okay,
it sounded exactly the same as it did on my live stream. So
awesome,
it was just very very natural the whole time.
nice. Hell yeah, that's awesome though. That's a hell of a first
Yeah.
show. That is a super awesome
Oh
first show.
man. Yeah. I'm over the moon about it, man. I'm still ecstatic about it. It was such an honor to do that.
So we're gonna get you at some of the Dream Hacks over here in the States. Can we get you up on stage there?
I would fucking love that. Yeah.
That'd be sick.
And yeah, we will see. That would be fucking cool.
Well, if that happens and you're in Atlanta, I will hopefully be front and center, just rocking out with you.
Yeah. They had seats at the Dream Hack, which I understand because it's an arena. There's seats fucking everywhere. Everyone's sitting down, but no like a little mosh pit at the front. No one could do circle pits, but I jokingly said in a couple of songs, like when the riff was building up, I was like, "All right, everyone, circle pit," and everyone's just sitting there in front of me. They can't move. I had to do it though.
Nice. So is there okay? So back to the backstory. I kind of deviated us. I'm sorry. Was there any other bits you wanted to add?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So after that show, right, there is another challenge I need to complete out here before I can go back to hell, and that is to write, record, and play in full a black metal album.
Oh, nice.
And so that is near completion actually. So soon I'll be released from this prison of frozen despair.
I mean, what would you rather be in hell or would you rather be in the frozen tundra there?
You know what? The first couple of weeks here was really good. It was a nice change of weather. But I'm over it, man. I want to get warm again, and I want to shred in the Soul Arena.
It's probably hard on the
Soul
hands.
Arena.
Hands like cramping up and stuff.
Yeah, a little bit of frozen hands, a little bit. Yeah, it's okay though.
All right. Well, going into that, I want to know how long have you been doing vocals, sir? How many years have you been doing this?
I guess, let's see, probably like 75,000 years.
Okay, wow, that's a long time. You are a true master at this point.
Yeah, it's nothing. But no, about probably like seriously about 4 to 5 years, really.
Okay.
Like that's where I really took it seriously. But before then, I think like most vocalists, we scream and sing along to our favorite songs, and whether you're in a car or in your home, wherever you are, and it started like that, and then when I got more into streaming and making my own original music, that's where you got to start tracking and coming up with lyrics and getting it on paper basically. And so yeah, that's where I took it a bit more seriously. And yeah, it's been good. It's been good fun.
Yeah, nice. So 4 or 5 years, that's a pretty good little span there. You've been able to learn. Did you play other? Well, you already said you play guitar, but did you play any other instruments first, other than guitar, or guitar player first and then learn vocals? So I'm assuming you play guitar a lot longer than vocals, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I actually started on with drums actually.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I think it was like 2006, 2007. Started playing drums, learned an AC/DC beat, and over the 4 years of drumming, I kind of got up to, I guess, the level of playing along to Metallica, Trivium, maybe a little bit of Lamb of God songs. And at that point, I was listening to Lamb of God and Trivium a lot. That I started listening to the guitar riffs, and I just got really hooked on the guitar riffs and kind of got taken to the dark side and played guitar ever since for probably about 14 years now. Yeah, since about 2010.
Do you think that helps you with everything, knowing drums and then guitar first, like that?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, especially writing music and like with all my original songs I put out now, it's all programmed drums. But I have a good idea of the beats and stuff to use and all that stuff. But yeah, probably like 5 years into guitar playing, I started really enjoying the vocals as well. And yeah, just been right into it, man. Been tricky though. Been very fucking hard to do vocals. It's probably my weakest skill out of all the instruments for sure.
Really?
and just because of practice, I think.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely takes time. It's not unless you're just some insane prodigy. Definitely, the first time you
Yeah,
try, you're not gonna get it. Like at least with
yeah,
the harder vocals, with the screaming and stuff
yeah.
like that. So, what inspired you to start learning vocals and to get into becoming a vocalist?
Uh,
Was there anything
you
that
know,
kind of like made you want to start doing that, or instead of just
yeah, I
doing like
think just
instrumental stuff?
when you listen to songs and then you look up the lyrics for the songs, like especially with heavy metals, sometimes it's hard to understand the screaming and stuff. And so you look up the lyrics, and what I found was just like really great stories being told, and great messages in those lyrics that you can relate to, right? And so when it came to writing my own like riffs and drum beats and stuff, um, I wanted to put those same kind of messages and stories into the music as well. Um, I think it's awesome, man, and it's very satisfying when you are doing vocals and like a certain part comes up and you kind of lock in with the rhythm section on it, and it just goes nuts, and
Yeah.
it's great.
What you kind of brought up the lyrics. One thing I love about metal vocals and lyrics in particular is it's not really so much like a predefined like thought. Like for example, like country or something, you may have like a theme that it's pretty much stuck on, right? But
Yeah,
metal, like you could write a song and how you interpret it, it may be different than how I interpret it initially. And it kind of like
yeah,
it's more open ended for people. And I always thought that was really cool is how it affects different people in different ways and stuff like that.
yeah, totally. Like I have a song, probably reference this one a lot actually, but a song called "Stirring Seas of Fire and Death," and it's about me on the Dutchman sailing the seas of hell. But the whole song, lyrically, when you look at it, it's the interpretation of like keeping your head above the lava and keeping your ship afloat and sailing, navigating through the seas of hell. Because we're all on that voyage on planet Earth. The seas of hell being life, and us trying to navigate through it and captain our ship to safety, to the destination unscathed, or as unscathed as possible. And so when you look at the lyrics, it is all about hellfire and stuff, but deeper it has that other underlying message.
Yeah. And I think that's what's
Which is
awesome about it.
great.
That's what always drew me to
Yeah,
vocals and metal lyrics and stuff like that too, was that underlying message and the things that you can relate to your personal life, and
yeah.
okay. So, how did you learn to do vocals? Was there any techniques you did? Was there videos you watched? I know you mentioned screaming in like the vehicle or in your house, which I feel like that is what most people do definitely to start, to kind of see what's going on. But was there anything in particular you did to learn how to do what you do?
Uh, Not necessarily. Like I just started screaming, and I think the first like couple of years of doing that along to my favorite songs, there was there was moments where the voice went, maybe damaging the vocal cords and maybe building that callus, for the
Yeah.
screaming and stuff. Um, yeah, so I guess it was a bit of a teething period with it, getting used to it and obviously doing it wrong a few times. I think there was a moment where I was watching some YouTube videos and did actually do a little bit of warming up eventually to like Melissa Cross's DVD,
Yep.
her audio tapes, doing it to that, and I think that helped get a bit better with
So
the technique.
you use the Zen screaming?
Yeah, that's what I started with. Yeah, because you're looking online for like how do I scream properly and
Yeah.
how do I do it with good technique, and that was what would come up.
That's how I learned too.
Melissa
I
Cross's
found
DVD.
it
Yeah,
was like an old DVD of the Zen screaming, and I watched it. And it had the
yeah,
different techniques and warm ups and breathing exercises and all that
yeah,
stuff. So that's actually how I learned as well.
yeah.
And I
It's
still
great.
use the warm ups to this day. That's part of my routine is using those. She knows what she's talking
Yeah,
about. That's for sure.
yeah, yeah.
Um.
My
So,
root. Oh,
oh,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
I was just gonna talk about my routine that I don't really I don't have a routine as much as I should these days. But if anything on my Spotify, I just look up like warm up vocal warm up, just anything with scales basically. But I apply the same things I learned from the Zenith Scream and the different kind of sounds and pronunciations and stuff, and just follow those scales, which is good.
Okay. So you don't use her warm up routine?
Not anymore. Only because I can't find, like, because I had the audio files on my computer like fucking 10 years ago or something, you know, and
I can try to find them if you need them and send them to you. I think I have them somewhere.
Oh, that'd be sick. If you do have them, man, I'd love to. Yeah.
Because I actually still use.
See if they're online for free.
I use them for my routine. That's part of it, and then I've incorporated. I've talked to different singers and stuff. There's like a straw and water technique where you're pretty much like you doing different sounds and stuff like that and blowing and essentially like controlling your like how much air is coming out you're releasing and stuff like that. So I use that as well as a few other things that I've picked up along the way just to kind of like modify my routine as I've gotten older and done it longer.
I done something ridiculous that I thought might help, but I still don't know if it did or not. But for like a whole month, I went to this gymnasium and I used like a 10-kilogram medicine ball and I put it on my diaphragm and I expanded it and just kind of like slowly released it while like holding that weight there and just like repeated that like 5 times.
I'm sure that did help.
Did anything?
I'm sure that really, because there's a lot of diaphragm exercises that you can do. So I mean, I'm sure that didn't hurt at all.
Yeah, no, you could feel like the muscle getting worked there. So that's why I thought it was maybe doing something.
Did it take you long to figure out that diaphragm is what you needed to do to scream instead of just like pure throat? Because I know a lot of people think it's just solely your throat and not, you know, you're pushing with that, which is very wrong and can hurt you really bad.
Yeah, I've made the mistake many times. Yeah, just like doing it with the throat, especially in the early days, and then learning that it kind of comes from the diaphragm region. And all it takes is just you thinking about that area, and generally you start thinking from there, you know?
Yeah. It becomes muscle memory after a while, too, like once you've done it so long. So when you were starting off, what were some early mistakes you made? Like if you could go back now, what's some things you knew, like you did early on in screaming and even your early recordings and stuff that you've noticed that maybe I shouldn't have done this or I should have done this a different way or this could have been harmful? Like what's some early mistakes?
I think it's just the poor technique, you know, and not utilizing the diaphragm as much. Doing it from the throat, and actually more than anything, probably just like being too tense. During recording and stuff. Like that's one thing I found when you warmed up. Your physically your face muscles and everything they all get loose and warm, and like vocally, you're all warm inside there as well. And so when you go to sing, it feels nice. You don't have to push hard, fresh before you even like warm up. If you're just doing it, I find there's a lot of strain and tension, which I think I had a lot of that during the first recordings I did. I could only like track vocals for one song. It maybe took me like a couple of days to do one song actually.
When you track them, did you go like line by line or how did you try to tackle it? Because I know different ones will do different things. Like one of the first recordings I did, the producer was like, one line at a time. That's what we're going to do. We're going to nail this line and then we'll go to the next one. And then the next one, I was doing the same thing and he kind of didn't stop me. So I did like a whole bunch of lines. He was like, why don't you just do that every time? I was like, okay, well, shit, I don't know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's different ways to tackle, how do you do it?
I did it kind of, I guess, maybe like paragraph by paragraph.
Okay.
So like the verse, like verse 1, I would do the whole verse, I think, in one hit, unless there was like maybe a big scream at the end of the verse or something. But usually I could get through the verse just fine.
Okay.
Anything after that, that's where a lot of tension would come in, and I'd have to do that separately.
Yeah. Nice. Was there ever an aha moment, like when you were starting off early and you were kind of finding your voice and how to do it and what screams you could do, couldn't do? Was there ever a moment that like everything kind of clicked to you and you were just like, oh shit, this is how it works? Like, I got it.
Totally. As soon as I regularly used warm-ups and exercises, for sure, that was like, because yeah, when you start screaming after being warmed up, it's just like it's so easy and it feels right, and you're relaxed. And so that for me, that first time that happened where I went to scream after warming up, I was like, holy shit, this is like way better. I could like go for longer without my head trying to explode, you know?
Scream headaches are a real thing. Getting those, I guess that pressure,
Yeah.
they definitely are a real thing. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, that's awesome. Let's see. So you already talked about your routine. Does your routine different? Like, does it change depending on, for example, when you played your show at DreamHack, or if you're going to record a song, or if you're just playing on stream? Like, does any of that change, or even if you're under the weather, do you change anything up at all?
Yeah. If I'm under the weather or something, like, or like can't really scream or anything like that, I would just not do it, you know?
Yeah, vocal rest is
to
always
not do it.
err on the side of vocal rest if you're in doubt, for sure.
Yeah. But you know, at DreamHack, I didn't even do any vocals at all. Like, because I don't think I'm prepared to do it yet. Because yeah, I think I got a lot of work still to especially 1 hour of like screaming straight. Still got a bit of work to do to figure that out. Also, technically on stage as well with getting the audio to sound right. At that show, we had some problems with that with the microphone and stuff. I mean, you listen back and me just speaking in the microphone sounds a little robotic.
Yeah.
So I didn't do any screaming because I know that it would.
Did they
just
put some
be
weird effects on it or something? Like, what were they doing?
There was some weird effects going on, yeah. So I didn't want to risk. I was hoping to maybe scream just one song or something like right at the end.
Yeah.
And you know, if I do another show, definitely want to do the vocals and screaming. But I'll make sure it's a smaller set, you know, or it's going to be a select amount of songs. Because I do want to get my feet wet with the vocals at a live show. I want to be able to do it. I don't think I was just confident enough.
An hour-long set is long and rough. It is exhausting.
Yeah.
It is definitely exhausting on the vocals, especially if you haven't done it before. Or I know some people may be thinking, "Oh, hour-long's not that bad," but it takes a lot out of you. It's really exhausting.
Yeah, I was doing like rehearsals on the stream for it, and yeah, by the end of the hour, like actually about halfway through the set, my screaming changed into like it went from like I could do like gutturals at the start, like lower screams, but then like halfway through it kind of changed to like a yelling, kind of like a Joe Duplantis or Gojira yelling kind of scream, which I guess isn't bad, but it's just when I'm singing along my songs, I don't think it really fits that well, and so I was just a bit discouraged by that. I was like, shit. But to answer your question too, before those streams and doing those rehearsals, I did do the warm-ups, especially in the last couple of months leading up to that DreamHack show. I wanted to do my best to be prepared for any vocals for the show, and so I did make an effort, like 15 minutes before each stream, doing those warm-ups, and it did make a world of difference playing the first 3 songs, man.
Yeah, kind of takes away that initial roughness, and it's better for your vocal cords too to have them kind of ready to go. Kind of like if you're working out or anything like that, you know, you warm up or stretch beforehand.
Yeah.
Have you ever, since we're talking about warming up, have you ever over warmed up? Because that's a thing too that can cause like fatigue. If you warm up too much, you'll, you know, same as like screaming for so long, you'll fatigue your vocals. And
I'm not too sure, because I've only ever done it for like 15, 20 minutes tops, you know. So I'm not sure if I've pushed myself over the edge from that.
Okay, good deal. It's definitely a thing. I've done it before, just trying to like try new techniques and routines and stuff, and I could definitely feel it in your, you know, in your throat and stuff like that. You can definitely feel like, okay, I might have done a little too much. Like it feels a little off.
Yeah. I wonder if me doing it for 15 minutes or maybe the type of warm-ups I'm doing actually had an effect where my screaming changed to like a yelling sound later on. I'm not too sure though. I have to just keep doing it. I think if I did these warm-ups before each stream like a solid year, it would be good to see the difference it makes, you know. But I haven't done it for that long, you know.
There's a lot of trial and error with this. A lot. I can't tell you how many times I've done vocals. I'm like, oh, that's awful. Okay, we're not doing that again. Like that's a no-no.
Yeah.
So you're talking about different things with vocals. What about vocal care? Do you do anything to try to help your throat in between or your vocals?
Yeah. What I generally do is I'll smoke like 50,000 cigarettes, as many as I can.
That's the perfect vocal care. That's exactly what you do. Kids out there, if you're listening,
Probably why I sound.
just light them up and keep going.
Yeah, especially out here. It's so fucking cold, man. I need like 4 cigarettes just to get through the street. No, but honestly, when the voice is a bit hoarse after screaming for like an hour or something on the stream, I will make a nice, cup of tea. A little bit of honey in there,
Yep.
and like a lemon ginger tea with a bit of honey. I find that does a world of wonders for me. I feel like honey is a fucking superfood or something,
Yeah.
just very magical kind of food. And yeah, so I do that, and I'll just try not to speak as much as possible. Try and stay quiet. And if I am going to speak, I've read that apparently it's good to speak in a higher register.
Yeah.
Because it's not as harsh on your vocal
Apparently,
cords.
whispering is actually worse on your vocals if your throat's hurting and stuff.
Too.
Just to use your full voice. Apparently, that's better for it.
Yeah.
I actually never did tea until recently, until I've been back doing vocals, frequently. And tea is awesome at the end. Just the warm and, like you said, the different herbs and stuff like that in it are fantastic. Honey is amazing.
Heard licorice root tea is really
I've heard
good
the same. I haven't tried it yet, but yeah, I've heard the same.
Neither have I. Yeah, gotta get it at the store next time. I don't know when the fuck I'm gonna be at the store next, but
maybe there's one over that mountain behind you.
Yeah, maybe some fucking caveman in a cave selling some licorice root. That'd be good.
Do you ever do any like vocal cooldowns? Because that is something I'm gonna be honest, I didn't know about until I was digging around looking for new routines and stuff like that. And apparently that's a thing. And also, not just harsh vocals like we do, but singers also do to kind of after the fact to like, I guess, cool down your vocal cords and help them.
Yeah.
Because there is some irritation no matter what you do. I mean, for that long, you're gonna irritate them to some degree.
I have not heard of that. Well, I've heard of it in like physical exercise, like the cool downs, but yeah, not in vocals. So that's kind of new to me. I have to look into that actually.
The one I saw, it's using like kind of like you almost sound like a robot, like a false chord kind of thing, and it just like just making like these ooey-eye like noises and stuff like that with them, and it's supposed to do that like immediately as your tea's getting ready, and then drink your tea.
Okay.
And I actually learned that from Lorna Shore's vocalist. I was listening to an interview with him, and he was talking about it. And anybody that's listening that knows metal vocals, the dude's insane. So he knows what the hell he's doing, clearly.
Yeah, his name's Will Ramos.
Yep.
Ramos? Right, yeah. Yeah, he's fucking insane, man.
It's crazy.
I think like him and Travis Ryan from Cattle Decapitation, they're just like,
oh my God.
It's just incredible.
Craziness. Man. Dude, it doesn't even make sense how they pull off some of the sounds they do.
Yeah.
And then get off stage and talk easy. That's another thing too. Like I've known a lot of vocalists over the years that I've played shows with and talked to, and they get off stage and they're just hoarse, and you can tell they're doing it wrong and not sustainable at all. And so the vocal care and the technique is big deal, especially when you're doing vocals. But I wanted to shift a little bit. So as you've kind of went into your lore, I would like to know more about where you draw inspiration from when you pull lyrics, and where you've pulled all your inspiration for the themes and the different things you've done over the years. I would love to know kind of where you're pulling that from. And one specific I'm curious about, Cannibal Holocaust. How many zombie movies did you watch beforehand? And was there one that like inspired you, or where did you pull this inspiration for all of it as a whole?
From the depths of my soul, actually. No.
Lots of darkness in there. Got it.
Holocaust. Yeah. The lyrics, the inspiration for a lot of lyrics, they come in different ways, I suppose. Like either something I'm going through personally gets kind of translated into the song, like for instance, the blackest abyss of despair is all about, you know, that shitty abyss that we get into, you know, being depressed and anxious and frustrated, kind of hitting a wall. And I was hitting a bit of a wall when I wrote that one, and the riffs were really dark and it was like heavy, so it kind of turned into that song. But yeah, then Cannibal Holocaust was just like I wrote that riff, that main fucking riff, um, the verse riff and the riff that opens up the song. And I was like, straight away, it's like, that sounds like a zombie apocalypse fucking riff. I don't even know what it was. I was like, this just reminds me of zombies for some reason. And so I just started writing it around like a zombie apocalypse. And when I did the lyrics, yeah, it just kind of naturally came like that. You know, the first lines is like, starving for your flesh, never will they rest, ripping through your chest, brain matter sweet at scent. And it just all works really well. But yeah, sometimes there's like a theme, like a horror theme or something like that, something fictional I can write it about, and other times it's more like personal.
Okay.
Just kind of depends what the song sounds like at the start, and just straight away listening to the riffs and stuff, what I'm thinking.
Kind of
And
what you're
that's
going through in your
generally
life,
how it works.
different things inspire
Yeah.
you, and I pulled from a lot of personal matters myself when doing lyrics, but then would have theme songs. Like one of our most popular was about Dexter, which was
Oh right, the show, the TV show.
yeah, the serial killer. So I actually wrote about him. We wrote it in the
Yeah,
studio,
okay.
and it's funny. I was actually talking to a guy that played in the band with us back then, and he at one point after he heard the song first time, he come back with this whole elaborate meaning of the thing. He was like, "Man, you're in a dark place right now," and just had this whole in-depth thing. I was like, actually, it's about Dexter, but I mean, that works too, I guess. Whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a cool thing is the listeners will interpret your
Yeah.
songs however they're feeling. You know.
It's really cool to ask them what they think it means and then to get like how they took it. I
Yeah.
always love doing that.
That's cool.
So what about all your lore? Where did all of Grym come from? Like where are you pulling all this from? I need to know because you've went quite in depth, sir. Like you have a lot. Like I don't know how you come up with all this.
Well, I guess the lore is my life, right? It's my existence.
Okay.
These live streams is my existence playing out in real time for you guys to be entertained by. But with the lyrics and stuff of all the songs, well, I guess if we take a look at the two new ones I've put out, they're kind of chronicling my adventure on the Dutchman, sailing the seas of hell. So the opening track was "Stirring Seas of Fire and Death," and that is, yeah, like I said before, like keeping your head above the lava and captaining your ship to your destination unscathed, navigating through the seas of hell. And so there's that kind of telling chapters of my story in real time through song, I suppose. The second song that's come out, the latest one that I've released so far, is called The Dragon King. And that's about Terry the Dragon. Terry is a dragon that's been in my world for some time. He's a bit of an asshole, but it's only because he's had a falling out with the human race and with other entities. And that's what that song's about. The Dragon King is about the friendship of man and dragon, the friendship that was broken. The bond that was broken between those two races, because the humans became selfish and they wanted glory by slaying the dragons and getting the hand of marriage with the king's daughter and stuff like that. So they used to be friends, and the humans used to ride the dragons, but now they just get slain for their own glory and fortune. And so, yeah, that's what that song's about. Terry's pissed off at him, basically. And he fights a kraken in the realm during that song to prove that he is the king.
Okay. Nice. So, did you ever have a favorite lyricist or songwriter that you looked up to as far as, how they wrote the song or how their lyrics are or anything like that? Was there anybody that inspired you or that you still look up to?
Yeah, if we go right back to like when I first really got into music, in general, I would say like the first time I was ever inspired by music was from Marshall Mathers, Eminem.
Oh wow.
The Eminem Show album, I think, came out 2002. The Eminem Show was like just I don't know, just hearing like his flow and all the songs and the way that lyrics are tied together is fucking incredible. He is an absolute genius when it comes to words and wordplay. Um, and you know, I just got hooked on that. Like it's such a hook. Um, so that was my introduction to like legendary lyrics, and then from there, like in the heavy metal realm now, um, pretty heavily inspired by the band Death, specifically the frontman Chuck. Um, especially on their last album they put out before he passed away, "The Sound of Perseverance." You know, he has a way with words, man, and he has great stories told in the lyrics. I just love it. I love the way that he writes music and lyrics.
I was not expecting Eminem, but that's awesome. He is a great one.
Yeah.
He's a genius on it, honestly.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite lyric while we're on this topic?
Yes, I do.
Ooh. Now, is it a
and
favorite
it
lyric
would
of
be-
your own or a favorite lyric from someone else?
Favorite lyric from a band.
Okay.
Both from that album I was just talking about, "The Sound of Perseverance." Chuck has a lyric in it from the song "Bite the Pain," and the lyric is, "Not a drop of blood is drawn, but you know how it bleeds. Be aware of the sharp-edged weapon called a human being." It's like talking about how human beings, you know, are sharp-edged weapons. You know, they'll stab you in the back and they will fucking, yeah. Another great one is from the intro song "Scavenger of Human Sorrow," and I just want to talk about that title there for a moment too. When I first read that, "Scavenger of Human Sorrow," I was like, "Oh, that sounds like a horror song, you know, scary." But when you break it down, it's just about people that feed off of the pain of others, you know, scavengers of human sadness. That's what it's about, and it's another great lyric in that one. I think it's like, "Shallow are words from those who starve, for a dream not their own to splash and scar." And just the way that's worded, man, like it really fucking tickles my funny bone. I love it, man.
Hell yeah. Nice.
They're my two favorite, I think.
All right, so
Sorry, 1 second. Kato on my chat just said, 8 Mile is oddly my favorite music movie.
I mean,
Which I fucking love that film,
yeah.
Man.
Dude, that's a
I
good
love
one.
the rap battle at the end of the film too.
That's a great one. Okay, so do you have any tips for new songwriters as far as like lyrically, vocal patterns, flows, so forth, anything like that? If you could give any advice to someone starting out in vocals now and trying to write songs and stuff, do you have anything you could tell them or share some knowledge with us? In your 75,000 years.
I just want to say real quick, thank you, Frosty, for the raid. Sorry, I don't have a push to mute button.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, thank you, man. So yeah, some advice maybe with lyrics. You know, there's different ways you can write lyrics. Like a lot of what I thought was important was the rhyming. You know, rhyming words.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't get too stuck on that, you know. If you're writing lyrics, don't get too stuck on trying to make things rhyme all the time, because that is a bit of a restriction to your writing. Not every word is going to rhyme, you know. So if you're trying to tell a story, yeah, don't get too stuck in that corner of trying to rhyme everything. Also, I guess just expanding, like I guess an example maybe like you had like a lyric that was like, or a topic like "the demon inside my mind" or something like that. Instead of having the lyric be "the demon inside my mind," you can expand it a bit with a bit more descriptive words. You could instead call it like, "the bloodthirsty demons of hell ravage what's left of my frail mind. You know, just adding those like extra descriptive words to really paint a more detailed picture.
Yeah.
I find that's helpful. Yeah, like writing out a lyric, but then looking at that line and seeing how you can detail it a bit more. I found that to be quite helpful.
Fellow kick streamer Matt Suarez, he was actually talking to someone in his stream one day, and he said something that's kind of stuck with me lately. He said whenever, as far as like songwriting and stuff in the creative process, one thing he likes to do is take time every day and just not necessarily think about any theme or anything. You just write. Just literally write and let it go, and then kind of go back later and kind of process it and really like look into what you wrote, just like freely write. And I thought that was a really interesting technique and way to go about it too.
Yeah, that's I did an exercise of that once actually, where just writing anything that came to mind, and then like picking just parts of that, whatever that was, and kind of trying to do something with it creatively, like write a song or a video or something.
It's crazy the stuff that comes out when you're just not like trying to force it. It's just all organic, just letting it flow.
And at the start, it just feels weird because you're just writing like white cup in front of me sits there stationary.
Yeah.
And then it just like turns into some fucking, you're talking about catching the train to the show next week or something.
Nice. So you mentioned your black metal album. What are you pulling inspiration from for that? Like, have you started any kind of lyrics or vocals, like ideas for it?
Yeah, I have started the lyrics and vocals, working on them still. Yeah, drawing inspiration from this location here. You know, just looking around. You know, want the album to sound cold and come from a dark place. You know, this is a frozen wasteland, and I'm quite alone out here. And I've got to face these challenges inside me. So it's kind of all around that. What is the first song is called Winter Eternal. Actually, it's the first song is an opening track, and then the second track is Winter Eternal, and that's just talking about the environment and it fucking up my physical system.
Okay.
And then the third one's called Tomb of the Frozen Soul. And I guess this is about being kind of buried under the weight of everything, you know, like carrying the burdens of whatever you have in life, you know, and just being buried with that. I got the song at the end, the closing track is called The Summoning. And I guess that's just, there's like a middle section of the song where it goes really quiet and it's a nice clean section. And it's like the perfect kind of like part in the song to like have like some kind of incantation, like a Latin incantation or something, like summoning a demon from hell. And so I want to try and put something in there, and then it kind of builds up and goes into this like breakdown riff. Yeah, I want to summon something in that song basically. And I've got an emote on my channel where it's a summon emote. It's me reading from a book summoning this meteor shower. So yeah, I think it would be kind of cool having that song, and then everyone can use that emote and stuff to kind of connect it with that a bit more too.
Hell yeah! How many tracks are you doing for this album?
It's 5 tracks. It's like one little instrumental opening track, and then the 4 songs with lyrics and vocals and stuff.
Nice. Hell yeah, dude! I'm excited to hear it. Do you have a? So we talked about lyricists. Do you have a favorite vocalist by chance? Do you have somebody that you look up to as far as their vocal range or technique or patterns?
I've got a number of people actually. You know, in the early days, it was like James Hetfield, Metallica, right?
Yeah.
Like James has an incredible voice. You know, Disturbed, David Draymond, incredible voice, incredible, just power in his vocals. Jack Black, Tenacious D,
Jack Black's voice is insane.
He's got an incredible pitch and power as well in his voice. And then, you know, Chuck from Death, you listen to his older stuff and then the last album, and you see his evolution in his vocals. And it's just, the last one is very crisp, high register kind of vocals that he does, and it's really cool. And then kind of lately, I've really enjoyed, there's a band called Immortal, a black metal band. I play one of their songs a lot actually, and he has a very, it's just that classic kind of black metal voice, but it's very fucking dialed in. It's like really tight, crisp, and he, every time I hear him, it just reminds me of Emperor Palpatine from Star Wars. I don't know why, like just it's like perfect, man. Um, yeah, Immortal, great
Hell yeah.
band.
Oh yeah. So do you have a favorite song or part that you do like live vocally on stream, or is there like a little piece that's your absolute favorite when it comes up? You're like, oh, I can't wait to do this part. Because I know we all have songs that we kind of not necessarily dread. Well, sometimes you dread, but there's like, oh hell, this part's coming up that sucks, or there's this part and it's like this part's a ton of fun.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. I would say maybe in the song "Stirring Seas of Fire and Death," there is a part where um it's like a really like driving rhythm thing going on, and I think the lyric is like, "Through the seas of hell, we fight for our survival. Um, to stay above these tides, reach the skies, breathe in the light, don't be taken by the darkness." Um, and I don't know, just singing along to that part with the chorus is like really fun. I really love doing it. And Cannibal Holocaust is another one too. Just really easy to sing to that one, and you can go nuts with it. Yeah, those two are great fun.
Awesome. So I was going through your discography, and I have to say there was one I didn't know you did, and
oh yeah,
right away as soon as I heard it, I was like, oh, this is amazing, and that would be Combat Evolved. Are you a Halo fan?
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah, I
The
wrote that
first
song.
few notes, I was like, is this Halo? There's no way he did a Halo song. And then I heard it, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And it instantly, the nostalgia hit me. Like I could see the menus and everything.
Yeah. Well, like the first half of the song is just these riffs, but then like the second half, there's like a drum fill, and then it hits like those chords that I was playing those chords, man, and like straight away I thought Halo. I was like, fuck, it sounds like Halo. And I just worked on the chords, and then I was like, oh, add a lead there, and I've done some lead guitar stuff, and then just got into the solos. Just fucking do the Halo solo, and this worked out. So it's like a big homage to Halo, because yeah, I played the original Halo on the first Xbox with the giant fucking remote, giant controller. Um, Very nostalgic for me too to do that.
You weren't teabagging people, were you?
I teabagged myself. You know, I don't know how the fuck you do that, but I did it. That was the first one.
Nice. All right. Well, I don't know that I have many more questions. Is there anything else you would like to, any other wisdom you would like to give to the audience to let them know about vocals or anything like that?
Yeah. Drink coffee, smoke 3,000 cigarettes, and you'll be okay.
Hell yeah. That's
No,
how you get the vocal cords perfect.
No, I would say I would say these things. I would say that warming up is important. Dedicate 10, 15 minutes before you do any crazy vocal stuff to get everything warm, to get your face nice and relaxed and stretched. You know, you can literally just like open up your fucking jaw wide, hold it there, you know, do some breathing in and out and hold the breath and let it out slowly, things like that. Does
Do you ever
wonders
dislodge your jaw with how you are, like the whole?
No, not yet. I mean,
Okay, well, that's good.
I had to sometimes when I drink beer. Sometimes out of the bottle. Yeah, sometimes I dislocate it.
Well, that's good. You haven't done that yet. Yeah, that could be a problem. May get some crazy sounds though if you dislodged and screamed.
Yeah. Actually, it might sound like a pterodactyl or something. Maybe like Travis Ryan.
Might start a new trend. Hell yeah.
But yeah, man, like get everything warm. That's important. Do that consistently. I don't do it enough. I neglect it a lot, and every time I have to scream without doing it, I regret it. Because usually my voice will become hoarse faster, and then I got to do more care. So yeah, totally do a lot of warming up. That's my biggest piece of advice. And probably not drink lots of coffee and smoke cigarettes
Yeah,
before you
that's
scream.
definitely not the best. The cigarettes
Unless you're
definitely for
Randy
sure is
Blythe.
not the best. I know vocalists that do, and most time they're like, "Do as I say, don't do as I do," because this is awful
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
Alcohol too
Yeah.
before screaming is not good for those of age.
Yeah.
It can cause issues, and I'm not sure. And
I know,
afterwards, you might want to limit how much you drink too, to an extent, depending on if you have to do frequent shows.
Yeah.
I know one
Matt,
of the.
Matt Heafy from
Oh, go ahead.
Matt Heafy from Trivium is he's got a very strict like regime with vocal care.
Yeah.
I know Matt does something like he won't eat like 3 hours before a show, and like drink anything other than water. I think. In the mornings he's warming up. He does like kind of a really different kind of like screaming technique to warm up everything, and yeah, it makes sense. Not eating like a lot of food before the show because you get like acid reflux and shit from that.
100%.
Yeah, you gotta be careful. Yeah, and everyone's different. He even mentioned, like some people can eat like a bunch of chocolate and drink a beer and then scream perfectly for an hour, but everyone's different, and that's the way that he has to do it to sustain his voice.
And that's part of the reason I wanted to do this series is, how different people approach vocals and how they do their routines and their care and stuff varies. Like no one really, you may have similar things kind of like us with Zenna screaming, but it completely fluctuates. And some people may have, where you have 15 minutes, they may do 5 minutes of a few things and they're good to go and they can, do a full tour, like a month-long tour, fine, and not have any issues.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. Each person is different, so you definitely have to find what works for you. One thing that I will always recommend to vocalists is vocal care. If you are doing something and it hurts, stop before you do any kind of damage. And if you always do vocal care, just always vocal care. Don't talk. I know it sucks. Write notes. Vocal care is very important. Just vocal rest, rather. Sorry.
Totally.
But yeah,
I got a question for you, Sinister.
Oh God. Okay.
Who is your favorite vocalist, or someone that inspires you?
So, whenever I was actively playing shows and tours and stuff, I had 3 vocalists that always stood out to me for different ranges. As far as the highs, I always loved Trevor from Black Dahlia Murder. I loved his high screams. There was just something about him. Mids and lyricists and stuff. I would go with Vigil from Ghost Inside. Really liked his more hardcore mid sound, more like speaking kind of tones that he did. And then lows, Phil Bozeman from Whitechapel. His lows were insane.
Oh yeah, Whitechapel. It's been a while since I heard those guys.
Yeah, it's his first album. I'll never forget. He has like a guttural that's, I don't even remember, 15 seconds or something. It was just the first time I heard it, I was like, there's no way. That's insane. Like, I don't understand how you're doing that. But those are always ones I would kind of look at as far as those ranges. Now, more recently, Will Ramos that you talked about earlier, dude is he can do it all. I keep seeing different videos. It seems like every week he comes out with something different, and now he's even singing, doing clean vocals, and it's just like this man can do everything. So he's definitely one right now that I look up to and I watch what he's doing.
Yeah, one of my new ones is Travis Ryan from Cattle Decap too. Like every time he does those, like, just I don't know what they are, like goblin fucking pterodactyl vocals that he does. Like, you look at like the cover of the album, like I think the Monolith album they put out. There's like a fucking zombie-looking creature on the cover of it, and it just sounds like he's in the fucking booth doing the screams or something. It just a very animalistic sound,
Vocalists have come a long way from back whenever I was doing it a lot to now. The stuff people are doing is insane.
You're frozen.
It's crazy. It's wild. People are advancing quickly with it.
Yeah, man. It's be interesting to see what it's like in the next 10 years or so, like what other new incredible vocalists come out of the woodwork.
Yeah, we keep getting weird things from Will's, like I call it a werewolf scream on the Hellfire. It just insane to Alex Terrible's like gator roll he does.
Yeah, Alex Terrible,
and then
I love Alex Terrible, like how he like sings in Russian sometimes. It sounds like he's fucking like doing an incantation.
Yeah.
It's Russian, I have no idea. But it's fucking really cool. It's like if you just started screaming Latin or something.
He's wild on stage. I've never seen him live, but I've watched videos, and he is insane. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Definitely a ominous front man for sure. Like, intimidating seeing him up here, just a big guy just screaming at you.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, though. So where can everybody find you? I guess it's time that we wrap up. I know you have stuff to do. Or actually, before we do that, I did want to ask, since you record your own vocals and do things, do you have a favorite plugin?
Yep.
Do you have any like favorite plugins or things that you add?
Oh man.
Like a go-to? So I know there's a ton out there. There's
I
a ton of things you can use.
Yeah. I use a lot of the stock plugins, like just like EQ plugins. But if anything, I use a lot of like Waves plugin called Manny Reverb.
Mm-hmm.
I put Manny Reverb on like fucking everything, guitar,
Oh, yeah.
vocals, whatever. I love that plugin. It's really easy to use reverb plugin.
Are you all self-taught as far as like recording things, and did you learn everything your
Yeah,
own?
pretty much.
School of Google kind of thing?
Yeah, most of everything when it comes to streaming, video, audio, everything, man, like is like YouTube tutorials.
Hell yeah.
YouTube tutorials are my best friend in the whole world.
That's awesome.
And we love each other and we hang out with each other all the fucking time. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
YouTube tutorials, man.
Nice. All right. Well,
Even told me how to scream and stuff.
oh, that's how you learned it. Yeah, there's tons of tutorials.
Like technique and stuff. Yeah.
Some of them are not always the best, but you'll definitely
Yeah.
kind of get a feel for it as you go through. You'll see kind of what works and what don't. Because there's different types of screams. There's false chords, and then there's frost screams and stuff like that. You know, different ways. But I know it is very early for you, so I'm not going to hold you up too much longer. Where can the lovely folks find you? Like to plug everything you're working on, your socials, your stream, everything. If you will, just kind of promote yourself, your album, all that good stuff.
Yeah, sure. So you guys can find me on kick.com/Grym, Grym. And you can search Grym on Spotify or Apple Music, and you should find my music there too. Just look for the skeleton. And yeah, that's pretty much it, you know. Twitter or X, you know, is Grym Official, one word, and YouTube is the same.
You still call it Twitter also? Because I do. I think I'm just an old man.
Yeah,
I kind of refuse the change. I'm just stuck in my habits of calling it Twitter.
Yeah, I think it's out of habit. I call it Twitter still.
Yeah. I don't even think I've changed any of my bio stuff. I just leave it at Twitter. I'm like, whatever, same thing.
Yeah, everyone knows.
Well, all right, sir. Thank you so much for coming on, being the first ever guest. Round of applause to you. I really appreciate it.
Dude,
and you're awesome, man.
Thank you so much for having me, man. It's an honor to be the first guest, and I look forward to the other vocalists you have come on the show for you.
Hell yeah. I appreciate it.
Really stoked, man. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for doing this. I know it's really early for you, so you're a beast. We appreciate it very, very much. Everybody go check out the Black Metal album and the other albums. You have 2 full lengths, right? 2 EPs or full lengths?
Well, I got one full length, one.
You have a self-titled and then from 2020, correct?
Yeah. That's the most recent full length one. I got like one that's just a collection of riffs, basically, the accursed riffs, and then the second full length will be like the Black Metal album and this other one that I'm working on in Hell.
Nice.
But the one in Hell is the fun one, because you guys will get to experience the songs as chapters in the story that unfold and debut live in real time. So that's a fun one.
Hell yeah. And definitely go over to his streams. It is awesome. You put on a great performance. The visuals, everything you do is fantastic. So hats off to you. You absolutely crush it. You really
Thanks,
do.
man. Thank you.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. We appreciate you all listening, and we'll see you guys next week, okay?
Thank you. See you, man.
Hope you enjoyed episode 1 of Behind the Vocals. Please show the video some love. I would greatly appreciate it. And go show Grym some love. His links will be posted down below. Show him some love. Thank you so much for sticking around and watching the video. We'll see you guys next time.